You know, you see the headlines all the time, the staggering net worths, the private space races. But when you really look at the people on those lists, what's the real story? It's almost never just about the money. It's about the mindset that got them there. Okay, so let's just start with this number. The combined wealth of the world's billionaires is a mind-bending $16.1 trillion. It's a number so huge it almost feels fake, right? But that number, it doesn't tell you a thing about the failures, the insane risks, or those moments of near total collapse. It completely hides the human stories of struggle, of resilience, and of vision. So today, we're going to go behind the balance sheet and really understand the mindsets that built these incredible fortunes. And look, we have to start with maybe the ultimate archetype of resilience, Elon Musk. Let's just forget the current headlines for a second and go back in time to a moment when he was on the absolute brink of losing everything. Okay, picture this. It's 2008. The entire global economy is imploding, and Musk is basically fighting his own private apocalypse. SpaceX has not one, not two, but 3 consecutive rocket launch failures. We're talking multi-million-dollar explosions. And at the exact same time, Tesla is just bleeding cash and is weeks, literally weeks, away from going bankrupt. So what does he do? He makes a choice that most people would call completely insane. He takes every last cent of his personal fortune and plows it back into both companies, just to keep the lights on. He was literally sleeping on factory floors, pulling 120-hour work weeks. This wasn't just a business problem for him. It was an all-out war for survival. And that right there, that just perfectly captures his core trait. His friend and investor Antonio Gracias said this about that time: "The harder it gets, the better he gets." You see, for him, it wasn't just about surviving. It was about thriving under a level of pressure that would have absolutely crushed almost anyone else. So if Musk's story is all about resilience in the face of spectacular failure, our next story is about a completely different kind of strength, the power of your own internal values. Let's talk about Lucy Go, who really represents this new generation of wealth that's built not on flash, but on a grounded, kind of unconventional philosophy. I mean, think about this. At just 30 years old, Guo became the youngest self-made female billionaire on the entire planet. She's a Carnegie Mellon dropout who taught herself to code and then co-founded Scale AI. They do the really essential, kind of unglamorous work of labeling data, which is basically teaching computers how to see. It's the stuff that powers the whole AI revolution. And this is where she just completely shatters the stereotype. Forget the Lamborghinis, forget the Gucci. Guo drives a Honda Civic and she shops on Shein. And it all comes down to this personal philosophy she has: act broke, stay rich. You see, the key here is that her confidence is entirely internal. As she puts it, "I don't really have to prove myself to anyone." Her story is just this powerful reminder that real success isn't about what other people think. It's about staying true to your own values, no matter how much your net worth might change. All right, from internal values, let's pivot to external vision. This next story is all about adaptation, and it just demolishes that old idea that innovation is only for young people. Let's dive into the incredible second act of Oracle's Larry Ellison. Now, to really get how big this comeback is, you have to know this. Back in 2008, Ellison publicly mocked the idea of cloud computing. He called it complete gibberish. It really looked like he had missed the biggest tech shift of the decade, and a lot of people were writing Oracle off as a dinosaur. But then, the AI boom happened, and Ellison saw his opening. He pivoted hard, and Oracle recently announced this number: $455 billion in signed contracts for its cloud infrastructure, a number so huge it just left Wall Street totally speechless. So how did he pull this off? Well, he didn't chase the trendiest AI model. No. Instead, at 80 years old, he decided to become the landlord of the AI revolution. He focused on the boring but absolutely essential stuff: raw computing power, data centers, infrastructure. He made himself indispensable. Okay, so we've seen resilience, values, and vision. Our final story is about the trait that really ties them all together: strategy. We're going to shift from tech to high fashion, to a man known as the Wolf in Cashmere. Bernard Arnault didn't just build a company, he built an empire through brilliant and often pretty ruthless planning. This nickname, it just perfectly captures his whole deal. He earned it during this brutal corporate war where he seized control of LVMH.
It signifies this sophisticated, elegant exterior that's hiding an absolutely relentless competitive drive to win no matter what it takes.
And that strategic mind, it absolutely extends to his family. This isn't just a company, it's a dynasty. It's like a real-life version of the show's Succession. All 5 of his children hold these incredibly powerful senior positions across the empire, from Dior all the way to Tiffany's. And this quote, it just tells you everything you need to know about the mindset that fuels his success. Even when he's at the absolute pinnacle of the luxury world, he manages with this belief that failure is always, always just around the corner. That's what keeps his empire at the top. Okay, so we've looked at 4 really different journeys, right? A resilient engineer, a grounded prodigy, a comeback king, and a luxury emperor. So, what's the common thread here? What connects them all? Well, it really boils down to these 4 pillars. First, embrace failure. Musk's rockets literally blew up. Ellison was a 2-time college dropout. Their stories teach us that setbacks are just data points, not the end of the road. Second, be contrarian. Dare to go against what everyone else is doing, like Hua with her Honda, or Arnault seeing a huge opportunity in a bankrupt company. Third, stay adaptable. At 80 years old, Ellison proves it's never too late to make a game-changing pivot. And finally, resilience. This is the superpower that links every single one of them. The ability to get back up, that's everything. So here's the real takeaway. When you really dig into these stories, you start to see that the money, it's just a consequence. It's the scoreboard. The real game they all mastered is the art of simply refusing to quit, no matter how tough it gets. Because in the end, success isn't some magical state where you never fall. It's a choice you have to make over and over and over again to get back up. Musk, Guo, Ellison, and Arnold, they all made that choice when everything was on the line. So the only question left is, what will you choose?